Hello, you're welcome to today's class. Uh, every one of you are looking at me right now. I believe you should be thinking of the JAM and the UTME exam. But if there's any of you looking at me and you're not taking JAM and UTME exam, this video will be helpful for you. Anyhow, no knowledge is a waste, they say. Now, if you look at what we have on the board, it says that we're talking about the living organism. If you talk about the living organism, that is actually the first topic you're going to see in every foundational biology textbook. Now, if you talk about life, you're talking about bio, you're talking about living organisms. Now, we're talking about living organism in aspect of UTME, and or what they call JAM. What they expect you to know is what we'll be teaching you in this video. Will be from 1978, when JAM came up, till 2013, there is an accumulation of about 17 to 20 questions that have been set from this topic. Meanwhile, I want to read a question to you so that you can know what we want to teach. Now, let me read this one question to you quickly. It says the characteristics that can possibly be shared by both living and non-living organism. I take the question again. The characteristics, the feature, the behavior, the characteristics of the feature of the behavior that can both be shared by living and non-living organism is, and they give a list of options for you. They said that 1, locomotion, that's movement. They said 2, they said irritability, that's the ability to feel. 3, they say increase in biomass. And then 5, they say decrease in size. All right. If they gave you these questions, number 4 is increase in size, not decrease in size. This question is gotten from 2008 JAM question number 2. 2008 JAM question number 2. So now they give you the list of the options, but I'm not going to solve the problem now. I will just teach you, and I'll like all of you to make an attempt to solve the problem. Okay, now let's go to the board. Come on, let's get at the board. Now in the board, I want you to know that living organisms has these characteristics that I'm going to list down for you. And then there is an acronym to these characteristics that will make it easier for you. And then it is M, Mr. Niger, Mr. Niger D. But I don't want to call my own D. You know why I don't call it D? I call it S. I call it LS, L/S, and then I have C. All right. Now let me tell you what I'll tell you what that means when I got there. Now I have M to be movement. I have R to be respiration. I have N to be nutrition. I have I to be irritability. I have G to be growth. I have E to be excretion. I have R to be reproduction. I have this, my LS to be lifespan. And you see, the lifespan is talking about the cycle. The cycle or the life cycle of every human starts from birth. The first one is the birth followed by the growth, followed by the old age, called the census, and then we have the death. All right? So that's all the process that every living organism is going to pass through. It's going to pass through the time of birth, it's going to pass through the time of growth, it's going to pass through the time of old age, and it's going to eventually die. But there's only one organism, one being that never dies, which is the soul of man. The soul and the spirit of man will return back to the maker. It is eternal, it does not die. But you see this that you're carrying on your flesh, you're going to drop this down here on earth when you die. But the soul and the spirit will return back to God, and they will be judged by God. According to Hebrews chapter 9, verse 27, it says, better you prepare your soul for the coming of the Lord. That's by the way. Anyway, if you will, it is very important. I wish you will. I pray you will. Anyway, so we look at this one is competition. All right. Now, this is all the characteristics and the definition of movement. You know, in your UTME exam, you'll just be clicking the answers. You're not going to be writing anything down. It's not a theoretical question. It's an objective question. So you see, and you have only 40 questions. So we're going to rush through this. Movement is just it's talking about locomotion. It's talking about the ability of organism to change position from one point to another. That's movement. And it could be the whole part of the organism changing position or just part, because I can change the position of my hand like this, I can change it like this, I can drop it like this, I can drop it like this. That is motion, that is movement, that is locomotion. I'm trying to change the position of one part of my body. I can change the whole part of my body. That is also movement. Now, I talk about respiration. It's an ability to breathe. Ability to breathe. You breathe in a carbon dioxide. The plant takes up the carbon dioxide. You know the plant breathe. The plant takes up the carbon dioxide and release oxygen, and we take back the oxygen. That's another thing for another day. But if you study the living organism, if you study about this respiration properly in the topic, you'll find out what I'm saying. And then we have nutrition. We have plant and animal nutrition. Animal tends to undergo heterotrophic nutrition because they depend on plant for their food. They have no period to manufacture their own food. So the food source of animal is plant. Meanwhile, the plant is autotrophic in nature. That means they have ability to undergo photosynthesis, and the photosynthesis help them to provide their food by their own self-manufactured food by the help of photosynthesis processes. Now, we talk about growth. Growth is simply an irreversible increase in size of an organism, an irreversible increase in size and in weight of the organism. And then we talk about excretion. Excretion is the removal of unwanted material, metabolic waste from the body. Don't say, maybe, am I too fast for you? I think I'm going to slow down a little. I'm going to slow down. Let me slow down. Now, excretion is the removal of unwanted waste metabolic material from the body. And we'll talk about reproduction. That is the essence of giving rise to a progeny, giving rise to an offspring of same species. You don't just produce mango, produce orange. That's not possible, except in some agricultural kind of technological things. Normally, mango should get back to mango, and orange should produce orange. Normally, reproduction must be of the same species, and the production of offspring of the same species. Get that to note. And then we have lifespan. You see, where it's called death. Lifespan is the duration, the life cycle between birth, between growth, between old age, and then death. I also told you that the soul and the spirit does not die. You eventually go to God for judgment. And I pray that your soul will be saved, and knowing Christ will make you saved anyhow. Now, we have competition. Competition. Life is competitive. You have competition everywhere. But the best competition to have is a competition with yourself. You become a better person you are than you were yesterday. Don't compare with another person. Don't try to compare yourself with another person. Be yourself, find yourself, know yourself, and then develop yourself every day, and then you'll be happy. Okay? Now, that's what I want you to know in that regard. And then in this aspect also, JAM wants you to know about the levels of organization. The level of organization. And the level of organization, we have the cell, which to the tissues, and then we have the organ, and then we have the system. Okay? Let's see here. The system. The cell, the tissues, the organ, and the system. Now, they also want you to know the difference. The difference between plant and animal. Okay, let me pick the first one. The cell is the smallest unit of life, but there are some organisms that are capable of existing in form of cell, just a single cellular organisms that they carry out all the functions. Imagine all these functions being carried out by one cell. That's wonderful. God is great. You see, one cell carries out all the functions of movement, of reproduction, of excretion, of nutrition, of all the Mr. Ninja D, Mr. Ninja D over there. One cell, that's a single cell organisms. An example of them, can you tell me? Amoeba. Amoeba proteus is an example of them. And then we have other single cell also. We have the tissues. The tissues are a group of cells that perform specific functions. All right. Now we have the organs. The organs are the group of tissues now that perform specific function. Human is a combination of cell, tissues, organ, and system. Because the organs you have in your body is the lungs, the heart, the skin, the kidney, the liver, the stomach. All those things are organ. But if you talk about the system, you're talking about the respiratory system, or the organs that is needed for you to breathe in and breathe out. All right. And then you also need, you talk about the reproductive system, the organ that helps for you to produce your progeny, all right, your offspring. And then you talk about the excretory system, the organs, all the organs involved for your passage of excretion. And we'll talk about the supportive system, that is the organ for the bones of the body. And that's what we're talking about in that one of organs over there. Then we'll talk about the one of the systems over there. That's what you'll be looking at. That's what John wants you to know. Anyhow, so I want to let you know that we want to look at the questions that we have in some of the past questions, and I'm going to be teaching from that question. Now, one of the questions says here, over here, it says that I want to pick this question. I want to pick 1979, number 1. It says, all living organisms. Oh, before we do that, I think I asked you a question before. All right, let's treat that question first. Let's go to that question. The question says, the characteristics that's possibly shared by both living and non-living organisms. Now, from what I said, now, locomotion, movement. Does all living organisms move? That's the first question. Now, to answer this question, all living organisms move to a certain extent, but not all living organisms can change from one position to another. So there's a limitation to that answer. Living organisms move quite all right, but not all of them can move from one position to another. Now take for instance the plant. The plant cannot move. You can say, well, plant, I'm going to church now. Can you follow me? Oh yeah, plant, follow me now. It's not going to listen to you. It's not even going to hear you anyway. Anyhow, so you must well just look as if you're talking to yourself. You see this locomotion we're talking about is the movement from one position to another. So all living organism does not actually move from one point to another, like the plant, like some of the animal organisms, like the sponges, the barnacles, the mussels. They don't move. They don't move. That's an example. And then we'll look at the next option. The next option is irritability, feeling, irritability. What did I say? I said characteristics that is possibly shared by living and non-living organism. You see that living organism does not carry out locomotion. So forget about that. Living organism does not carry out locomotion. Then they say irritability. Living organism does not have ability to. Non-living organism does not carry out locomotion. If it's non-living, non-living thing cannot move. I'm messing up the question. Non-living organism cannot move because the question say the similarity between living and non-living organisms. Let me read the question again. The characteristics that is possibly shared by both living and non-living organisms. So you get it now? You can answer. Number 1 is increase in size. Number 2 is irritability. Number 3 is increase in biomass. Number 4, which is D, is increase in size. So what is the answer? The answer is increase in size. Let me show you why. Locomotion. Living things does not go from one place to another. Irritability, non-living thing does not move from one place to another. Irritability, non-living thing does not feel. Now, increase in biomass. When you talk about the biomass, you're talking about growth. Okay? Non-living things does not grow. All right? They can only increase in size. Take a look at it this way. You are dumping a dustbin, trash. As you're adding more trash, the size of the trash is increasing. The size of the trash gets increased. So the answer there is increase in size because it says in the characteristics that is both shared by both living and non-living organisms. So the answer is increase in size. So we look at the question I want to look at before I get to this question. The question says all living organism A. Photosynthesize. B. Respire. C. Move. D. Feed. I take the question again. All living organisms: A. Photosynthesize. B. Respire. C. Move. D. Feed. What's the answer? Now let's start from the first one. Photosynthesize. No, no, no. If you are a photosynthetic organism, maybe for instance, I am a photosynthetic organism, it means if I eat rice, rice begins to grow from my head. If I eat corn, maize, corn, I mean, if I should take a fruit, mango, some mangoes will begin to grow on my head if I'm photosynthesizing. So the question, all living organisms, photosynthesis is not part of it. Number two, respiration. Respire. What makes you a living organism is your ability to breathe. And that's the answer. Your ability to breathe. All right? You see, but the soul, I like talking about the soul and the spirit somehow. Your soul and the spirit do not breathe. Spirit does not inhale and exhale. You see some people that, God, that's for another day anyway. Let's just focus on biology. You see, spirit and soul does not inhale and exhale. All right? God is a spirit and he does not breathe in and out. God does not breathe. God does not breathe in and out. Okay? What it means that we have a soul, we have a spirit, and that soul and that spirit does not breathe in and out. Are you getting it now? When someone eventually dies, which is death, the soul and the spirit will be separated. And then this soul and the spirit does not breathe. They don't have the ability to die. Why can't a soul and a spirit die? Because they don't breathe. They don't respire. The only thing that can die is those things that respire, that breathe in and out. Okay, you should know that. Anyhow, by the way, see us in the CRS class. Now we see the death. The respiration is a common thing between all living organisms. Now let me look at another question. We have another option there. It says move, feed. Okay, now movement and feeding. Why? Doesn't all living organisms move? You see? Now, all living organisms cannot move from one position to another. Alright? Although they can move some certain extent, but plants cannot move from one position to another. So I want to tell you in one of the questions I wanted to answer. You see, I confused that question with this question. The living organism does not move from one point, the plant does not move from one point to another. But we can move from one point to another. So movement, that answer is not largely correct. And so we look at the next one. The next one says, over here, feed. Okay, feeding. Every living organism needs food, nutrition to survive. But you see, plant has the ability to manufacture their own food. So you see, that answer is not rightly correct. The correct answer there is respire. Let's pick one or more questions, two or more questions from the JAMB series. We have 1995, number one. It says, which of the following does a virus have in common with animal cell? Which of the following does a virus have in common with animal cells? I should start to talk about the virus. Mr. Virus, Mr. Virus, Mr. Virus. Let's look at Mr. Virus. Now, if you're talking about classification of life, okay, virus is classified away. Virus is not classified either as a eukaryota or a prokaryota or an archaea. Virus is classified alone. Why is it classified alone? Because it has the ability to be living and non-living, depend on the environment where it found itself. If virus is on a living cell, virus become living. If virus is on a non-living cell, virus become non-living. You see that? Virus forms a crystallized structure when it is on a non-living cell. But virus becomes living when it is on a living cell. So you need to take note of this virus. So what is the characteristics that is shared by both virus and living cells? All right. One is that the evolution. Okay. Two is the protein codes. Three is the kind of gene, maybe DNA, RNA product, and RNA and DNA products. You see, these are the things that can be shared by virus and living things. Okay, let me go back to the question. Which of the following does a virus have in common with animal? Let's check the option. Nucleus. All right. DNA, glycogen, cytoplasma. Of course, you will not say nucleus. All right. The only thing from what I mentioned to you, I say genetic materials, that is DNA. or the RNA. So the DNA is in the option. So over the DNA is the correct answer. I think we'll look at another question. Let's just look at one more. One more. Look at verse, look at number 11. Number 11 is a virus, that is 1997, number 4. Virus differs from all forms of life because they have thick cell wall. Is that the answer? I leave it after you. Feed on waste products of others, organisms. Is that the answer? Cause infection and disease. Is that the answer? Require other living organisms to multiply. And that is the answer. Virus differs from other forms of life because they require other living organisms to multiply. Alright? But if it's an non-living organism, it becomes a crystallized structure, becomes non-living, it becomes inactive. Alright? But immediately it's transported to a living organism, it becomes active. Anyhow, you can pick up your past questions and solve a lot of questions on this living organism. And if you have a question, you can drop it on the comment section. If after this video you are not able to solve all the problems regarding to living organism in JAM, you need to drop the question for us. We're going to take care of it, or we're going to elaborate a class or pick a class for it for you. Okay? We are always there to help you. Let me pick one more. You know, I love questions. Let me pick one more question. The question says here let me pick a harder one. Okay. Let's look at this. It's still virus. Okay, let me give it to you. Viruses are considered to be living organisms because they, I'm not giving you options, so let me give you option. Possess transmissible character, move from one place to another, respond to stimuli, ingest food. What's the answer? Of course, possess transmissible character. That's just that, transmissible character. All right, let me look at another one. Anyhow. Oh, let's see this question. This question says, in which of the following tissue do the cell have the ability to divide? In which of the following tissue do the cell have the ability to divide? Okay, now, first one, he said meristem. Second one, sclerenchyma. Third one, phloem. D, collenchyma. Sclerenchyma, phloem, collenchyma, they are all plant skeletal system. You see that? Now, meristem is the answer. Alright? So we're going to see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now. Don't forget to drop your question, and don't forget to have a list of all this for you in our playlist from the syllabus. Alright? God bless you.